Test, 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 test. Check, 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 check. DJ Ham the Stampede, we in the building.
DJ Ham the Stampede.
Let everybody file into the live stream. How's everybody doing? P, how you?
All good. How you?
Everything golden. B, how you?
Wonderful.
Indeed. A, how you?
I'm good.
Sean, what up?
Unmute
Oh,
yourself.
you, man. God damn.
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
Whatever. Poop, how you doing?
Amazing.
Nico, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm regular. I'm doing the right thing. I appreciate you actually asking me back. First time in show history. We in
I'm
episode
nice.
27.
Hey, yo, nobody ever asked you back yet.
God damn, I'm getting new friends, yo. Yo, Q, what up? I see your setup. Huh? What's going on?
You know the vibes.
Yeah,
And I still ain't about to ask you how you doing. New mic and everything.
Golly.
No, I'm joking.
Alex, what's going on? Where the brown chair at?
It's back here. It didn't go anywhere. Don't worry.
It's back here. That chair on its last legs, Playboy.
Whatever.
I just want you to know that. Yeah, man. Listen, like, share, subscribe as everybody files into the live stream. So, I got to go through all the rhythmic information. So we're on Anchor, Apple, Spotify. We have merch. It's all in the description. This might be risky, man. So tell a friend. Like the feed and like it right now. Share it right now. You know what I mean? So I think this is gonna be a dope ass conversation. Sound good? All right, we here.
But they're dancing to the music.
Indeed. All right, let me share my screen for the first topic. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
You can see it.
All right, there you go.
I come to drink the tea and sympathy. Yes, honey, I am back. You guys know me as I am delivered, but my name is Andrew, but delivered with the T. I'm back. Here in November of 2014, in the St. Louis, it was our holy convocation that we have every year. I was new to the Church of God in Christ. I was new to church at the time. I've always been in church my whole life, but as grown, I was new to it. I only going to church that's to shout and to see who I was going to sleep with pastor. But at that church, they delivered out of me. They were snatching that out of me. But now I get hard for women. I don't get hard for men. Ain't nothing wrong with a flirtation.
Y'all remember, son, from was it 2014? All right, so they're gonna show the clip that everybody that obviously went viral.
But I'm still delivered. The morning that I woke up, God told me to go to the store. I went and got me a bow tie, jacket, and all that. I just felt peace that day, like so much peace. And later that night, I was sitting down in the chair, and I was like, it's time for prayer. I went up there for prayer. I got the mic. He said, what do you want God to do? And I said, I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said, I'm delivered. With the tea, I went home with the sleep, and I got back up and I said,
All right. You know what I mean? Just want to add some context. I got some more information, but I want to get the conversation started. All right. So, first topic. Is homosexuality a choice? All right. So you see my man Andrew. He was delivered. He said he's not gay no more. He don't like men's no more. He said he got a girlfriend at the end of it. He said ain't nothing wrong with little flirting, but he don't get hard for men anymore. All right. Everybody know the vibe. All right. P, what you think?
Woo, child. I don't think it's. By and large, I don't think it's a choice. First of all, can we just start by saying sis is still gay? She lying. I don't think nobody does.
Very much so.
That ain't nobody. No, hell no. By and large, I don't think it's a choice. I think some people do choose. And I would say probably more often it is women that choose, or women that are more fluid for whatever reason. But I do think that it. I think it's something that is you're born that way. Because I also would say like you don't choose, nobody's going to choose to be ridiculed, or nobody's going to choose a life of persecution. If it was that easy for me to wake up and say, okay, I'm delivered, I probably would have done that already. I'm 33. It ain't changing. Ain't going nowhere. And that's the long and short of it. But yeah, sis is still gay. Talking about flirting. Lying ass. Are you on mute?
Hamp, mute yourself, Hamp.
Oh yeah, put him in the bathroom. Put it
So
on yourself.
okay,
Put him in the fucking bathroom. Get him.
cool. Listen, so you saying, what are you saying? So it is a choice for some people.
It is a choice for some people. I think some people do choose. I think most of us, and us in general, I think most of us are born that way, a predisposition. For some people, again, people that I've dealt with mostly, it's always been I like the same sex. That's it, right? It wasn't anything. There's no trauma that's happened. There's no somebody taught me to be this way. I like what I like. Just as my heterosexual friends, you like what you like. But then again, there are some. I got a girlfriend, a real girl, biological girl, who was gay in middle school. Then in high school had 2 kids, a whole boyfriend, and now she's dating a trans man. So she done covered every box that I could think of. Choice, right? Pierre, nope, still gay. Still gay.
Okay. B, is homosexuality a choice?
Absolutely, 100%. We live in America. All Americans have a choice.
It's just the American gays, no other gays.
So,
we live in America, right?
yeah.
That okay, Americans have a choice. Remember this, everyone that's watching and everyone on the panel, everyone has a choice. So if you gay, it's because it was your choice. And well, I ain't gonna touch on that topic.
Well, so what about if you're not in America?
Well, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But I'm just saying, everybody has a choice. Bruh. We don't live in a communist country. Okay, we live in America, the United States of America. And if you live in America, you're gay because you choose to be gay. You're gay because you choose to be gay. No one ordered you to court and said you got to be gay. You're gay because you choose to be gay.
So China's communist.
All right, well, that's China. They can order you to do what the hell ever over there. They can take your house, your land, your money. We don't live in China. We live in the U.S. of A. And if you are in America and you gay, it's because you choose to be gay.
China gay, Russia gay.
I don't know what that comment means. LOL, you a black man in America talking about choices. I don't know what that means, but I mean,
the people say you ain't got no choices because you black and a man in America.
I ain't pay that comment no attention. It's a choice.
Okay.
Shit.
Okay. Because they're in America, just to be clear.
Every person has a choice.
In the world?
You're gay because you choose to be gay.
So people aren't born gay.
How you born gay? Hold on. I wasn't going to touch that topic. I bit my tongue and I said I'm not going to touch on that. But since you brought it up, let's take it to that level. How were you born gay? When I was born 3:49 p.m. in New York City. When I came out my mother's womb, I was born straight. I was born gay. I was born this. I was born that. Half, you're an athlete. But when you came out your mother's vagina, you weren't born an athlete. I mean, how are you born? How are you born gay? Can someone break that down for me? Because you brought it up, so let's talk about it. How are you born gay?
Okay, so are you born straight? What the fuck?
Bruh. You're born. That's my point. You're born. Your brain has not fully developed where you can to where you can rationalize something of that capacity if you're straight or gay. I mean, how are you born that way?
Okay, so Adrian, did somebody have to teach you? Because to B's point, I guess apparently you learned all of these things. So did people have to teach you to like girls?
No. But
Man,
like
it's
your
choice.
environment, I think does play like a huge role in I think your sexuality as well too.
So you're saying that your environment could have changed your orientation.
Definitely.
So you
I think some people are so this is from, you know, my point of view, right? And just based on like treatment thinking, I don't really have much facts outside of the people that I've encountered, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely think people are born like what's the word? P said the word, like with a disposition to feel that way. Because when I looked up homosexuality before I answered the question, and it just said a sexual attraction. So it's not the actual choice of sleeping with somebody, right? So from that standpoint, I think people are born with stronger pre whatever the word is, P, you know what I'm trying to say, whatever. So those people, I think sometimes it's so strong that no matter the environment, that attraction is not going to change. However, there's a lot of people that just due to trauma, due to environments, things in terms of like you got some women who, because men did them wrong, now they're gonna choose to be with, you know, a woman. You got a lot of men who were molested and taken advantage of as a youth and exposed to that. So now they just only want to kind of deal with men. So my percentage, I feel like it's like 10% that are so like predisposed or so prone to it that they're going to be that way no matter what. For the other 90, I feel like it's based upon like experience, environment, the things that you kind of been through. And I think the reason why the numbers are growing again goes back to the environment. It's getting more and more acceptable, so the numbers are going to continue to grow. So I feel like the environment plays a bigger role or a bigger factor versus like the genetics or you being predispositioned to do it.
Predeposit. Okay.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Baby boy, you tried. I
Whatever.
fuck with it. Yeah, so but the numbers are still very, very small for the LGBTQ population, right? I think prevalency has all to do with social media and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they can display whatever they want to display, right? But just in terms of the percentage of people, it's very, very small, you know, just to the majority. Miko.
So did you get that? Hold on, my bad. I got one quick. So like, did you find that somewhere? Like something from like here versus like here, if there was like a difference in like the numbers or something like that?
Yeah, I'll show you in a second, but I want to get Miko in.
My guy.
Yeah. And this was actually a study done in the UK. So, but I'll show it to you guys. And it's a peer-reviewed article, if you guys know what that means. So Miko, is
Yes.
homosexuality a choice?
Okay, so the first thing, I find the question itself to be a little bit problematic. I know I can't choose the question. But the reason why is because it basically implies that heterosexuality is the baseline and anything from that is a deviation, which means it's an alternative to what's considered, I guess, the norm. So the question in and of itself is just a little of a setup. However, I'll answer it.
Okay.
I think that we're looking at it from the standpoint of just one thing. However, sexuality, so there are 4 different groups. Identifying yourself as a heterosexual or homosexual or lesbian, straight, bisexual, whatever, that's a sexual identity. And then we have gender identity, you know, who you feel you are inside and how you express those feelings by how you dress, how you talk, how you act. So that's how you start to get masculine of center women, studs, or feminine women. I'm speaking just from my experience because I am a lesbian. And then you have sexual behavior. So that's who you have sex with. And so someone can have sex with another woman and be a woman and not consider themselves homosexual because they don't identify as homosexual, if that makes any sense. And then you have sexual attraction. And so I think sexual attraction, that's something that a lot of people lie about because, and I feel like a lot of men, heterosexual men, lie about sexual attraction because they don't sexually identify as gay. So they can't explain why they are sexually attracted to this other man. And they feel like it's wrong. So I do feel like a lot of men have a sexual attraction to other men, but since they don't identify as homosexual, they don't necessarily speak about that. So when it comes to it being a choice versus being born with it, I feel as if no one is born with a sexuality, in my opinion. I feel as if people are just born, and then when we hit puberty, that's when we start to probably experience sexual feelings. I think when we're younger, a child, a lot of children go through different sexual experiences, like, you know, touching on your cousin or brother. You hear a lot about you hear a lot about those experiences when you're really little. But I don't think kids know exactly what they're doing at that point. I don't think it's like a feeling in their growing that leads them to do that. I think it's something that they've seen. So I don't think it's a choice. I think that people can choose to go about a certain sexual behavior and they can act on something that they want to do. But I don't think a sexual orientation, your sexuality is a choice because it's a feeling. And just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you're choosing to. I mean, how many people choose to feel a certain way? I mean, of course, with these new ideas about, oh, just change your attitude, change your life, and just feel happy. But you can say you feel happy, but if you don't truly feel it in your heart, then you're not happy. So that is my opinion on it.
Okay. That was a lot to unpack. The one thing I want to ask though, are you saying that the question is, I don't want to say unfair, but you catch my drift because you don't feel that being straight is the baseline?
Yeah, I don't think that, other than the Bible and these doctrines made by men, I don't think that there's nothing to prove that heterosexuality is natural. I mean, if we look at animals and their behavior, they're the closest thing to nature so far. So I don't think there's anything that points to being heterosexual as a sexual orientation, once again, not to reproduce or anything like that. So I don't think that that's a baseline.
Okay. So how do we come up with baselines though? Wouldn't the numbers matter?
The numbers matter from a statistical standpoint. Just like, I mean, white is still European white, still the majority in the United States. That's not necessarily the baseline anymore. I mean, the baseline can change at any time. So then we take it to fluidity.
What do you mean
Just
they're
like,
not the baseline though? Like what, white people aren't the baseline?
right, they're not. So just because that, just you said numbers, right? Which
Mhm.
means majority of something,
Yeah.
is what I'm taking from that. Just because something is the majority doesn't mean that it's the baseline, and it doesn't mean that it is the standard, is basically what I'm trying to say. So a lot of
Oh,
people think, is
okay.
that what you're asking?
Yeah.
How to determine the baseline? Well, let's say we do determine the baseline based on the majority. So what if we get to the point where the majority starts to become fluid, hetero, homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, what have you? What if that number starts to grow so much over the next 10 years? I'm just going to throw a number out, and
Yeah.
that becomes the majority of people.
The
Then,
baseline would change.
right. So that's why I say fluidity is also a major aspect to this. There's a spectrum that some people believe no one is 100% straight, 100% homosexual. There could be a spectrum as well.
Okay. Sean, what's your thoughts?
Well, to Miko's point, the baselines are created off statistics. I mean, that's how we develop a fundamental leverage line of averages, medians, means, and all of that. But the question of whether someone's born gay or not, I don't know. I'm not up to snuff on any case studies about genetic markers that are found in the LGBTQ community versus genetic markers that are found in heterosexuals. I don't know if that's been done. So I think that's opinion and not fact, even if people believe it. I believe in science and numbers and statistics. And somebody just put in LGBTQ community makes up less than 4% of the US population, which would be like 13 million people out of 367 million people. So if that were the case, that people were born that way, then either that's and I don't want to call it an imbalance. I don't want to insult anybody, but that would be an abnormality to what the norm is. And we know the norm through procreation, through marriage. And I know, people lie and people on the down low and all that, but the majority of the people that are on this planet are here from procreation and marriage. So I don't know where you would get any factors to prove that someone was born one way or the other.
Can I ask a quick question? I don't know
Sure.
if I can. Okay.
Sure.
Because I mentioned that sexual orientation, that's something that a person would have to identify. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel an attraction or have sexual behaviors with someone of the same sex. So just because 4% of people choose to identify as homosexual, that's not a realistic is not it doesn't basically say how many people are truly experiencing homosexual behavior, sexual behaviors in attraction to the same sex.
Here's the thing, we don't know that. That's speculation.
Yeah.
What speculation?
You saying that we don't know if there's more than 4% of people who identify as LGBTQ sexual preference. We don't. That's speculative. That's not something that we know here or there.
Right, which is why I said the question in and of itself is problematic, because it's asking two different things. One, is it a choice in the sense of, do you feel sexually attracted to the same sex? That's different from homosexual, because you have to choose, you have to identify as homosexual. That's a sexual orientation.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. There's no, we could just throw opinions out of what we believe to be true versus what we have statistics to prove otherwise. So I don't know. But if the question is whether we're born one way or we make a choice, maybe there are studies that say kids don't develop sexual preferences until a certain age. I was in the 3rd grade thinking I had girlfriends, but was I really thinking sexually like that? I don't think so, right? It was just a thing, boys get girlfriends, right? So I don't know what that age or that marker determines whether we start to believe in what we are attracted to is what we are sexually orientated at. There's no clear answer to that. So.
So can I jump in for a second as far as like age?
Yeah, and then we're gonna get Poopy in. Go ahead, P.
Yeah. So like if you're going by psychosocial stages of development, you look at Freud, he separated by age. It's really done by like sexual or body parts, but that the age, I think age range is like 3 to 6, is when you discover your genitals, and you start to discern boys from girls based on genitals, right? And then from puberty up until death is like the matured sexual development. So that's where the onset of these feelings and these emotions and the engagement and the behaviors start to come out. So if we're trying to determine like at what age or what age range kids start to, show interest. I would go as far back as 3 and 6, right? That's when we discover our body parts. That's when we discover the parts that make us different from boys and girls. Go from there, barring environmental changes. So barring any trauma, barring any, like promotion of one way or over the other. When you hit puberty, now you've got hormones and other things in play, and that will then, I guess, I want to say like that probably determines mostly who's going to be homosexual or who's going to engage in those behaviors. Again, as those, sorry y'all, those who identify as homosexual, because there are many. The data is always going to be skewed because there are going to be those people that say, "Oh, head is not gay," or if I do this, I'm not gay. But technically, by definition, you just engage in homosexual activities. But if you don't say you're gay, then you've already skewed the data. That's like me saying I'm not black, but I'm black, right? So I'm messing up the numbers if I mark something different on my Scantron sheet. Yeah, sorry, y'all.
Okay, Poop, what you think?
I think it could be both. I think you could be born gay. I think you can choose. I think that I think it could be both. I know some sassy 2-year-olds that are sassy grown men now. And I've watched them develop into that. And you knew right from jump, you just knew. You know, I remember seeing one of my friend's cousins, he was like 5, and he was t-shirts and my panties on in the mirror in his mom's shoes at like 5. Like, and that was a thing. And he is the sassiest man to this, you know what I mean? So you can't say that his feelings at that age were not his feelings. Like, it wasn't even a sexual thing. It was just who he was. Right. So I think, you know, you can be born into it. I think that sometimes it could be environmental. I think sometimes, you know, people can choose to engage in different activities just to kind of figure it out. I think that it could be all of it. There's not one answer.
Okay. Alex, what you think? Is homosexuality a choice?
I have to agree with Slim. I think it's both. I think some people are born that way. You know, they felt like, I've known since I was 5 that I've liked same sex. But I also feel like for some people, you know, maybe trauma has occurred in their life and they've been, you know, because of that, they have, you know, different preferences. When I think about this question, I say to myself, with all the trauma and the ridicule that people of the community experience, why would you just make that choice? I don't believe that anyone just wakes up one day and says, okay, I'm choosing violence. Like, I hate to say it like that, but I don't think anyone wakes up and says, all right, I'm choosing to be gay this morning or this afternoon. I don't think that's just something that happens. And especially when you look at, you know, a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle coming to terms and accepting that, you know what, this is what I like. I don't see why you would risk the ridicule, the isolation, the stigmas, if that was a choice. I think from people that I know who have struggled with their sexuality, they've said, you know, when I was younger, I wish I was straight, because I think life would be a little bit easier. I also know individuals who are gay, who have children. They say, you know, this is not a lifestyle that I want for my children. I don't want them to have that because I don't want them to go through this experience. However, this is me. This is my truth. So I really just think it depends. But again, I don't think you just wake up one day and say, all right, boom, it's Tuesday, I'm going to be gay. I don't think that happens.
All right. So is Poopy right or what? But hold on. So you said you agree with Poop, but the last 1 minute, it sounds like you're saying it's not a choice, or I'm trying to understand.
No. I agree with her wholeheartedly. What I'm saying is that, you know, when I hear people talk about is it a choice, I think for anyone that I've known in my personal life who identifies as gay or lesbian or bi, I don't think that's something that they just said, I'm like this because I want to be. You know what I mean? When you look at the LGBTQ community, they are ostracized a lot of times. They experience different levels of separation than everyone else. And I just feel like that's one of those things where, like, why would you want to experience that? Like, why would you choose that if it's going to be a harder life?
Okay. I got you. Q. Is homosexuality a choice?
So I think that the inclination to homosexuality is not a choice. I think that the acts within homosexuality are a choice. So I know, like, especially with church and whatnot, when I was younger, coming up in that, I would argue with a pastor any day who would say, you're choosing to be gay. And I think that what they mean by that is the act of being gay, living an outwardly gay lifestyle, engaging in sexual gay activity. I believe that all of those things are a choice. But as far as, like, your inclination, I think that there are external things that come into your life that cause you to have that inclination. I don't believe that people are necessarily born gay. I think, to Slim's point where she believes that it's both, I think there's probably something there that is more effeminate, that also ironically they end up having a homosexual inclination. So, like, if you're 2 years old, you're an effeminate male being in your mother's hills, but then ironically you do turn out to live a homosexual lifestyle. I think those are two separate things. I don't think that it's because you were born gay, you was wearing heels, and then you ended up being with a man. But that's just my opinion.
Break that down a little bit, though. So you saying the heels don't matter?
No, because I think that if you look at homosexuality within the male community, straight acting men are also gay.
Right.
So
We're
I
not
don't
just
believe
talking
that the
about, we
two
know there's
are
not just feminine gay men.
right. So I don't believe that the two are connected. If you
Oh,
see a little boy acting feminine,
yeah,
he gonna be gay. He could just grow up to be an effeminate man
because you can be masculine and still be gay. That's
and
the
still be
point.
gay, right?
Very much so.
So break this down for me. So is it the when people are being ostracized and not being accepted, is that the reason for the suicide rates and things of that nature? Is it strictly from that? Like, what can somebody help me break this down a little bit? So if it was, because what I'm thinking is it could be because of that, because you feel unwanted, but also is there some mental disorder or affliction there that causes these type of things to happen?
Mm.
I think usually it's driven by religion.
Suicide
Mm-hmm.
driven by religion?
Yeah, the internal struggle. If you were raised under a certain religion that told you being homosexual is a sin, you'll go to hell, you're going to be damned to hell for eternal life, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
then some people might not be able to accept that feeling. Like I said, feeling is not a choice. So you can tell God, your God, whoever, no, I'm not gay, I'm not gay. But if you truly feel it and then you also believe God knows your heart, then that's scary, right? Because you have nowhere to run.
But suicide is a sin too that you can't be forgiven for. So
Yeah.
if they grew up in that construct, they should also know that. So then they between a rock and a hard place. So why are they still committing suicide? So if we're going to use religion, it might contradict itself, considering suicide is also a sin.
Yeah, but those people tend to also grow up in communities that are a part of that religion as well. So, like, to your point, being ostracized, being ashamed, shame can cause people to do a lot of things, including suicide.
But like, let's also not act like just because we acknowledge if you believe that a sin or suicide is a sin, these are not the same people that are pastors sleeping with the congregation. These are not the same people that are not following the Bible to a T, right? So we can look at a sin being a sin, that's awesome, but it's not going to absolve the person who's having that struggle. If their family and their first support is all about church, you're isolated. The signs of suicide, or the things that preempt suicide, are isolation, depression, anxiety. I feel like I cannot go on. I can't do anything. I have nobody. And so it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's religion or it's church, but it's the isolation and the persecution that's associated or assigned to those things that then causes the person to feel like I have nothing left.
Okay.
Right. So I feel like how I feel that you're not born gay, right? And I said that there's an external something that happens, right? So do you hear people say, I didn't have any trauma. I wasn't molested by anybody. Nothing horrible happened to me. But then I almost want to bet that if you really looked into their life from childhood, they may have experienced some form of rejection. There's something that I feel that people who are homosexual experienced before their psyche could fully develop that put them in a broken place. And I feel like it's in that brokenness that, you know, if you're already dealing with somebody who's broken and then they don't fully know who they are, you know what I mean? Like be able to understand who they are. So like if you say, okay, I'm gay, you know this, you stand on it, you walk in it, you live in it, that is your truth. That's one thing. But if you're kind of in that weird space, I think you're easily broken on top of that. Yeah, you're like the prototype for suicide.
Yeah. So, so I know this is one of those. It could be anecdotal, so let me qualify it like that, but I'm not so sure. So I'm just gonna give the example. So B and I actually have a buddy who was molested by his uncle. Now he lives a homosexual lifestyle. That is one of those stereotypical, like people think that that happens. How true do you guys think that might be? Like it is some type of affliction. And I got one more other point to address, but is affliction a cause that we would need to consider at all, since it is a choice? Slim?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there's a group that fits into where, you know, it's because of some type of trauma bond. Just like I was saying earlier, there's gay for the stay, right? Like, you know, that there's men in jail that, listen, you doing a 20-year bid, police might start looking all right. You know what I mean? So there's that too. That's a choice.
Okay. Q, what you think? Is
Yeah,
affliction?
I disagree. I don't think that there's an innate quality that causes a man to be gay for the state. I guarantee you most of the men on this panel who are straight would not be like, oh, after 30 years, that ass starting to look real good. Like there's no you like I honestly don't believe that there is that innate quality in people.
So let me
That
tell
like
you.
if you feel that after time, that was already something that was there from, again, something that you probably dealt with externally. And now you're in this situation and the ass is looking tempting and it is looking quite delicious.
No, ma'am.
Word.
Yeah, but I mean, then it's like you could just put it on, you know, I don't want my street cred fucked up, or I don't want to be judged. So let me say this thing that is a canned response that most people have already started using being in jail for a long time. Like, I'd have to call cap on that if a nigga tried that. Like, no, nigga, you gay. Like, you have a gay inclination. Sorry.
You feel like it's the same for women?
What do you mean? Like women who go lesbian when they're in jail?
Just period. Like I feel like there's women that'll, you know what, I'll give it a try. There's more women that do that than there is that are men. So does that same concept apply to women?
Absolutely. You know, you get that a lot even with like college women. Oh, we was just in college. We was just no. There's something that's been there, and when you got to college, you acted on what's already been inside of you somewhere. Now, I don't think that some people have it at highly extreme levels, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. I think for women, because it's something that seems like it's sexual, you know, so if you think this might turn a man on, I might just do it just for the sake of, and won't be interested in it at all. So I think that happens more with women than it does with men.
But again, I don't feel like somebody could put you in that situation to be like, if you're not like that at all, it don't matter how much you think you're going to please that man. If you do that, in my opinion, something is in you already that is allowing you to go into that space. I think if you're truly heterosexual, you do not like, it's the same as people who are truly homosexual. Myself, I can speak for myself, have tried to put myself in situations to explore a heterosexual experience. It just never fit. It just, you cannot you just can't do
You
it.
can still get through it. You can like one of my gay homegirls had the baddest men that I'm like, yo, how does she is bagging everybody that for years, years. And but that was her. And then finally she was like, all right, I like women. This is what we're like. We knew this, but she dealt with men on a very intimate relationship level for years, multiple men.
So
you're
then
saying that she didn't. That was what? What do you
I think
say?
she was. I think then she fits in more into that bisexual category. But I wouldn't say she was a heterosexual woman.
So I'm not trying to be the politically correct person here, but I think I think that we are using, again, sexuality, like homosexuality, bisexual, lesbian. Those are identities, and I think we are confusing it with behavior, because you can have a sexual behavior that's different from your identity.
Right.
Also, some people don't attach emotions to sex. So some people can literally have sex with the same sex and not have an emotional connection to that individual. Some people can have sex with the opposite sex just for money, for example, and there's no feeling behind it. So
Right.
there's nothing in them that's telling them, oh no, you just can't do it. The same way if a woman has sex with another woman to please her man, it might not be she might not get turned on by it. She might just
Right.
do it, like I said,
part of a
do
sexual
it for her man. So I think someone can take themselves there if they're looking at it as just sex and not anything to do with their emotions or feelings.
But I think if we're speaking in terms of the term homosexual, I think then what you're speaking to would probably be some completely different definition, right? So like that same person who could probably have sex with no emotion attached could probably fuck an animal with no emotion attached, which would make them somebody completely different.
Mm-hmm.
How do you? I have a question. How do you determine the difference between what you described, Nico, as like the difference in the labeling between the sexual act and what you identify as? Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? What do you? And I'm asking a genuine question. How do you separate the sexual act? Because if that was the case, you could perform a sexual act and not be considered homosexual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the way the way you would, so for example, there are asexual people out there, right? People who don't have any type of sex with anyone. Are they considered straight? Are they considered bisexual? Are they considered, so they're considered asexual because that is how they choose to identify themselves. But then they're also considered asexual from an act standpoint because they're literally not having sex with other people. Now, if they choose to have sex with someone because they are experiencing tough times and someone said, hey, you can have sex with me, I'll give you $10 million. Now that person can still identify as asexual, but they can still go and have sex with that person for the $10 million. Does that make sense? So you can identify, it's two different things, how you identify.
Okay, but that's a specific thing, right? But if you commit a homosexual act willingly and you don't choose to identify as a homosexual, is that possible?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I can, as a lesbian, if I have sex with a man one time and then go straight back to having sex with only women for the rest of my life, am I now considered bisexual for the rest of my life because I had sex with the opposite sex once?
Absolutely, in my book.
No, that's not.
I don't understand why not. Like, is that another category?
So yes, the reason why
is that another category?
Yeah, the category is sexual behavior. Think about people who are a person who was raped by someone of the same sex when they were younger. That's the sexual act. why does that person have to call themselves now bisexual for the rest of them
Well,
their
no,
life?
that's
No, because that goes
something
back
that
to the act being a choice, right?
right.
The act of homosexual activity, you choose that.
Right.
So, like you say,
asexual
asexual people choose not to have sex. So you could be asexual. So choosing to be homosexual, you're not. I don't feel like you're born. You're born homosexual is what I'm trying to say. But then if like you don't act on the homosexual act, then that's a different thing. Like that. So that part, the acting on it is a choice.
Yeah,
The not acting on it is a choice. However you identify, I think that's just some personal shit. But
I think it can be confusing for a lot of reasons, and I think I'm just going to speak for myself because there are a lot of terms. You've got identity, expression, all these different things, and for most people, I feel for me it's hard to talk about it, and I have to be mindful of what I say because of the realm of work that I am in. And I think when I think about it, to what Q's point was saying, I'm a heterosexual woman. I can think that a woman is beautiful, but you don't sexually arouse me, like at all. You don't sexually arouse me. There are men who we use the term down low, and for those men who engage in sex with other men, a lot of them don't consider themselves gay. They don't consider themselves that, This is just the sexual act that I like. Maybe the man does this better than a woman does, or like I like this particular point of sex. But I think it gets a little bit difficult and a little bit hard to understand. So maybe Miko, if you could just explain it in maybe a little bit more simpler terms, because I'm a little lost too.
Yeah.
Well, before you explain it, Adrian, if a nigga has sex with a nigga, is he gay or no?
Now, but can I know we about to. Let me ask her one question, because I think what she's saying is, like, if you look at it as a definition, right? Homosexuality is, by the definition, is attraction. Period. It has nothing to do with the action. But I get why the confusion is, because people just make up. Not saying they can't, but everybody calls themselves what they want to call them. So the terms are going to continue to increase. So it's just going to be more and more confusion. And then if you don't accept it, so you got to try to keep up with it all. But back to the basics of it is homosexuality is just the attraction. It's not the action, right? So based on the definition, if you have sex with a man who you are not attracted to, or you have no physical or sexual attraction to them, by definition, you're not or participating in homosexuality. So that's why she's saying that separating the behavior from the feeling versus just what you want to call yourself.
So we did a show a couple months ago, and it was a show about the dude from Insecure getting his dick sucked by his mans at school. And for all this fluidity and acceptance, the ladies did not say they were going to date that man.
Right.
So it's a lot of, I just feel we be bullshitting, man.
Yeah.
Like we trying to tiptoe and bounce around, and then everything's so fluid. How do you come to any consensus, or does consensus not matter anymore?
It matters, because I think that goes back to Q's point. I could think a woman is pretty all day, but I've never had no urge to go and kiss a bitch. Like, that's just never been a thing. And if so, like, if someone came up to, I'm going, what are you doing? Same. No, that's not a thing for me. So I feel like when people, like it was just a thing in college. No, you were kind of curious. You were kind of curious.
Curious is not. It's not like you trying something out. It's not a lifetime thing. Tried it. I didn't like it. That could be that.
So then why did you say you wouldn't date the boy off Insecure?
Just because it's not my thing doesn't mean that it's not okay for the next person. It's not for me. It could be for whoever else. It's just not. I'm not signed up for that.
That shit is ill. See,
that's
people.
Not.
You're not trying to try no dirty dick, nigga.
Well, it has nothing to do with that. Like, I'm not the same way that I won't mess with no man under 220 pounds. It's the same thing. I'm not into that.
But he was just trying to see. People's actions really dictate their thoughts. Because motherfuckers can say all this shit. Oh, yeah, this is cool. That this and the third. But why boy can't bounce back?
He can, just not with me.
But then Slim, that makes it sound
You
like
can with somebody that's into that.
He can't with any heterosexual woman.
That's not true.
That's
Some
not
women don't have a problem with that.
Uh,
I'm just not one of them.
Yeah.
Quite a
So-
few. Quite a few. women
Yeah, there's women that are okay with that and accepting. I'm just not in that category. That's all.
Yeah.
I take your word for
B, what you was about to say, B?
it.
No, that's straddling the fence. I mean, at that point, you just straddling
That's
the
not right.
Balance.
Go ahead, B.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Go ahead. What are you saying?
You said B or P?
B.
Oh no, I'm just saying at that point you're just straddling the fence. I mean, you can't say a person being curious, he tries it out, he's just being curious. But then when we talk about the man, oh well, no, just not for me. I mean, why not accept the man? I mean, you said if he was curious, he tried it out. I mean,
Yeah.
at that point, and I'm not trying to put Slim on the spot, I'm not trying to start anything. But I'm
This
just saying,
might be risky, bro.
well, I understand that, but I mean, you know, at that point, you're just straddling the fence. I mean, you can't straddle the fence. I mean,
You can't be on both sides of the fence.
huh?
You can't be on both sides of the fence.
Yo,
Fuck no. How you on both sides of the fence? No, man. No, you either one thing or you ain't. No, fuck that.
Correct. What side of the fence you on?
I'm on the straight side.
We on
Straight side. Yeah, goddamn right. And you stay on your side of the fence, I'll stay on my side. We'll be the best motherfucking friends.
oh.
I think about the sexual attraction piece because I've had lesbian friends say like these niggas are just nasty. Like it just the thought of it is just nasty to them. And then I've had gay male friends who've just said like the thought of vagina is just nasty. Like ew. Just like I think the thought of vagina is nasty, but
So
it's just
Yeah, I mean, and I've had people say dumb shit to me. Like I've had guys be like, "How you know you don't like dick if you didn't try it?" And I'd say the same thing back to them, and then the conversation is over.
yep. Hello?
that's fair.
Listen, the amount of women that have told me they're gonna they say turn me in because I've already apparently been turned out, and I'd be like, no, like maybe you do nothing for me. What's less than flaccid? Because that's where I be at when they touch me.
I think that's the end, bro. I did a little short bit, and I dead ass did not jerk off. I didn't even think about that shit. Like I don't even know. I can't explain. Like I don't know if when I see a woman, I'm like or like it don't even compute to me. Like when I was in it, you don't have no thoughts about having sex. I don't know. Maybe the timeline matters, but it just like you just go lift weights, you eat that nasty ass dinner, then you go play a little basketball, then you do pull ups, and if you don't get in line up fast enough, then you get in trouble, shit like that. But
Would
that's
that change if it was like life?
I feel like that's. I understand what you're saying because I was in boot camp and I thought they was put something in the food. Because I saw the sister flights on the other side, and I was like, "Damn, I ain't even." You around 50 dudes every day. It's like I'm not even thinking like that. I thought they put something in the food for real.
Yeah.
I saw the women. I was like, "Dang, I'm not even like." It was rough. Damn, man.
One of us.
Hell no. All right, so Nico, final thought on the topic. One, this how I wanted to go. You ready? All right. Ask the question in a better way, because obviously you've been shitting on my question the whole night.
Okay, if I were to ask the question, it would be: is sexuality a choice?
Shit, you ain't do that much better than me.
And then I also would follow up and ask about the sexual behavior. Does someone's sexual behavior make them whatever the sexual behavior included? So, for example, if it's with the same sex, does it make them to the world homosexual? If it's with the opposite sex, does it make them to the world heterosexual?
Okay, yeah, that is better. Okay, I can see that is better. So just in terms of what you guys referenced before, so like in the Bible, for instance, you can have thoughts, feelings, right, emotion, but the acts are sins, right? So if somebody was gay, the act would make them break that commandment. So if they refrain from sexual activity, like the actual acts, then they would be okay. If that
Is that a
makes sense.
question, or you're saying that's what's in the
Well,
Bible?
no, just kind of like what you're saying, because I know we kind of referenced it before, and I just meant to say it a little earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically, like if you asexual, you good to go. You gonna get in the pearly gates.
Well, you gotta do a lot. You can't eat pork either, but you know. All right. Hey man, like, share, subscribe. Hey Miko, I want to give you a round of applause. I feel like I learned more and I'm more confused, so I appreciate you for that.
Thank you for having me on this show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you did an awesome job for a newcomer, man. We had to fire a couple motherfuckers that came on for their first time, so that's good work. Listen, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Share the channel, like the channel, it helps the channel. All right. So I don't really mess with Jerry Springer, but I do like one of his constructs. B, final thought.
I would never believe that a person is born gay. I think that's bullshit. And I will always stand on that. And that's my final thought.
Q.
Live your motherfucking truth. God damn it. That's it. Like, fuck what anybody got to say. Fuck all these titles. Live your motherfucking truth.
All right. Sean.
Y'all take this week out, go chase some wisdom, some knowledge. I'll see y'all next week.
Alex.
You like what you like. What people do behind closed doors in the privacy of their home is their business, not mine. So do your thing.
Poop.
Whether you born or you choose it, it ain't nobody's business but yours.
Adrian.
Love yourself. Love yourself. Everybody show everybody love, regardless of differences.
Miko.
You can identify as what you want to identify as based on how you feel. And you can also have a sex life that's completely different from how you truly feel. So
E.
I too am delivered. I'd like to say, live your dream. It's not as hard as it may seem. You got to work to get the cream. Watch Save the Last Dance if you don't know that reference. But on a real note, like, do what the fuck you want to do. Just be real with your partner or partners if you're gonna be a hoe.
Yeah, man. I think that rejection from the people that love you can hurt you in ways that you would never understand. So all praises that I never had to experience that, because I could only imagine. If you have a belief system, especially if it comes to the Bible, I think you need to re-understand what it means to love your neighbor and rebuke your neighbor, but hold them close, right? Because if people are doing wrong, it's okay. Maybe you can assist them, you can help them, but you hold them close. You don't cast them away. Otherwise, they'll continue to go down that perpetual hole that you deem them in.
Come on, Hemp.
Come on, Hemp. You gotta hit that DJ Hemp the stampede. DJ Hemp the stampede.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I love y'all, man. I think y'all some of the smartest people I know, man. You too, Sean. So
appreciate that.
Hey, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we out.